Hey there Trekkies, I'm the Trek Lad and this is my review of Star Trek Discovery's 5th season episode, Mirrors. This review contains spoilers, so if you've not seen the episode yet, this might not be the video for you. If you're just looking for my overall thoughts on the episode, you can skip to the timestamp shown here on screen. Let's warp into this! The mid-season episode of Discovery's 5th and final season, Mirrors continues the Discovery's hunt for clues that will lead to the progenitor's tech. Following Marlon Locke's warp signature, Burnham and crew discover a wormhole that leads to a pocket of extra-dimensional space. With the wormhole too large for Discovery to enter, Burnham and Book take a shuttle and enter the wormhole, where they soon find the wreckage of Marlon Locke's ship, as well as the Mirror Universe version of the Constitution-class Enterprise that has seemingly been abandoned. After last week's enjoyable detour, we're back to Discovery's regularly scheduled content. I've lost count of how many times this show has gotten my hopes up, only to bring them crashing down in the very next episode. I'm struggling to think of another show that has been this inconsistent from week to week. Mirrors isn't a terrible episode, I don't think I'd even call it a particularly bad one, but it's also not very good, and that's particularly frustrating given some of its ideas and setting. Only Discovery could take a phaser fight aboard a shipwrecked Mirror Universe Enterprise trapped in a volatile pocket universe and make it boring. The big developments in this episode centre around the show's relationships, particularly Marlon and Locke, who are fleshed out in a big way here. Shown through flashbacks, we see how the two meet and apparently fall in love, and we finally understand the reason why they're so intent on beating Discovery to locating the progenitor tech. We also get the big reveal that Locke is a Breen, not just any Breen, but Breen royalty nonetheless. The show treats this reveal as a big deal, and it would have been had most of the fandom not worked it out about a month ago. I'm a little mixed on this reveal. On one hand, it's kind of cool to see the Breen back on screen and fleshed out. The race featured in DS9's later seasons as the conflict with the Dominion spiraled into all-out war, but they were always depicted in a way that was virtually impossible for us to understand. Thanks to Discovery in this episode, we now know what they look and sound like, as well as how some of their customs work. Now, Discovery isn't the first show to spoil something by demystifying it. Just look at what Voyager did with the Borg, for example. But, I don't know, call me a spoil sport. I kinda like not knowing everything. I know Star Trek is ultimately about a quest to know the unknown, but not everything has to be explored. Personally, I liked that we never saw what the Breen looked or sounded like. But now we do, and it's just more tacky special effects and contact lenses, and for me, and I'm sure many other fans, this will significantly lessen their appeal moving forward. While it's good the show has finally given some weight to what appears to be the season's primary antagonists, a lot of this doesn't work. The flashback scenes feel extremely clunky in how they cut in, and all of them take place on the same set, with the characters essentially looking exactly the same from scene to scene. Is this supposed to be the case? Did Marlon and Locke meet and fall in love and decide to go on the run together over the course of a single encounter? I'm sure that's not the case, but I can understand any confusion as these flashback scenes all feel exactly the same. An easy fix for this would have been some sort of Stardate graphic overlay that gives us a better sense of their growing relationship with the passing of time. But the biggest issue over all of this is despite all this new information, I just still don't buy their relationship. Why are these two together? We see their first interaction, but I don't get what these two see in each other. It all just feels half-baked and just there. Thinly drawn characters that I don't care about because the show doesn't seem to either. A pleasant surprise was the way the show used the Mirror Universe concept in a way that didn't make me want to hurl myself into one of those pain booths. Discovery has done the Mirror Universe to death at this point, and when the episode's title was announced, along with appearances of Terran Empire iconography in the trailers, I feared we were set for yet another trip to the most overrated concept in all of Trek. You heard me. But much to my relief, that didn't happen. Instead, we took a trip to Strange New Worlds, where Discovery leaned into another old Trek trope of saving money by recycling a set or two. The stuff on Enterprise was okay, but it's a shame that the story of the Doctor and the Mirror Universe refugees was just relegated to heavy exposition. Rather than Book just reading a plaque, it would have been fun to have shown at least a small part of this through some sort of holographic logs or messages. This could have also given an opportunity for a cameo from Saru, or maybe even a goateed Ethan Peck as the Mirror Universe's doomed High Chancellor. But no, instead we get uninspired fight scenes, weird drawn out emotional sidebars that halt any momentum, and boring stuff about daddy issues that I just couldn't care less about. The most exciting thing about this whole bit was something I don't think was actually supposed to be in the episode. Listen carefully during the climactic escape when a big explosion hits the Enterprise bridge. I'm quite certain you can actually hear a firework go off. It's definitely there and it's very funny. I'm also baffled at this latest episode's use of clues that are supposed to lead to the progenitor's tech. Feel free to correct me in the comments here. So, a mirror universe doctor, who is Terran, escapes the mirror universe in a ship from the mid-23rd century that gets stuck in a pocket of extra-dimensional space, escapes, and somehow lives to the later years of the 24th century during the Dominion War, and then hides her clue map thing back on that ship? Why? Why would she do this? I have so many questions, but so little energy. Like I said earlier, this isn't a bad episode, and there are some good moments here. We get some strong visuals throughout, but particularly towards the end, and Rayna continues to be great, even in a smaller dose, as the show expands nicely on the character and his Kellerun heritage. I like how his integration on Discovery seems to be smoothing out, with both he and the crew finding common ground rather than the commander just completely changing to suit their need to hug each other every 5 seconds. We also get a brief but very welcome moment where the bridge crew come together to help craft a solution to help save the day. Sure, it's more techno-babble nonsense, and I still don't know their names, although that's now mostly because the show has just replaced everyone for some reason, but it was nice to see nonetheless. Mirrors is a return to Discovery's standard following last week's fun episode. It's not terrible, but it could have been so much better. It squanders its potential and is bogged down thanks to poor creative and storytelling decisions that rob the episode of a lot of its urgency and emotional impact. It's propulsive and it moves things on quite nicely, but I'm still struggling when it comes to stuff like character motivations, basic logic, and not to mention the all-important need to be entertained and actually care about any of what's going on. Also, come to think about it, how did Stamets know that the ship coming out of the wormhole's blinding aperture was not only the Enterprise, but the ISS Enterprise? Ah, fuck it, who cares? I'm giving Mirrors a 5 out of 10. It's closer to a 4 than a 6. But what did you think of this episode? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you haven't already, consider giving this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this coming soon. Until next time, I'm the Trek Lad. Long live the Empire.